So we're going to get back here and make a bit of brine. Brine is a salty liquid. I have here 1 gallon of water. I'm going to make a total of 2 gallons of brine, but I'll make a concentrated version and then cool it down with some other ingredients like ice and cold water. I'm going to take some, these are called pickling spice. If I read the ingredients here: cinnamon, allspice, mustard seed, coriander, bay leaf, ginger, chilies, cloves, black pepper, cardamom, mace, and a little bit of sulfide. So maybe just a good tablespoon. Be generous, don't be afraid to use it. In fact, a little bit more makes it a little tastier. Okay, we're gonna take a little garlic, smash some garlic up, and just throw the smashed garlic in there. Paper and all. We're gonna sanitize that paper by boiling it. So then we'll go to the stove, turn that on high and bring it to a boil. In the meantime, we're gonna get our trusty little scale, turn the scale on. We're gonna set it for 0 out the scale. And then we're gonna add salt to the quantity of 1 pound. Okay, that took a couple of seconds. Then we'll just continue adding salt until we get to 16 ounces or 1 pound. And we do want to be quite precise about this. I get a 1/4 of an ounce over. All right, there we go, 1 pound of salt. Now we're gonna add sugar. And I have normally 12 ounces. So I'm gonna weigh out 4 ounces of sugar twice. So that'll give me 8 ounce total. 0 that one out. So this should be close to a cup of sugar. Our water here has now simmered for about 5 minutes. And we're gonna add salt. That's gonna make our brine very, very salty. Some sugar. This is gonna sweeten it up, make the salt not so strong. And then we have some TCM. Again, stands for tinted curing mix. Pink salt, Prague powder, or Sal Rose. All of those are the same thing. And they go by different names on the market. I want to stir this around and keep the heat on it for a minute until all of that crystal structure melts, dissolves, and is gone. And then our brine is going to be cooled by adding ice and cold water. That way we get a total of 2 gallons of brine. Why do we brine meat? Well, it's going to make the meat last longer, so it's a process known as preservation. We also are going to get good flavor from it because we have these pickling spices and garlic in there. We're also going to preserve the meat with sodium nitrite, which that will keep the meat from spoiling rapidly, give it longer shelf life. Okay, that looks like it's about done. I've turned the heat off now, and we're gonna move all of that into here with a 1/2 gallon of water. So that's a 1/2 gallon of ice by weight, that's 4 pounds. And then we'll put a 1/2 gallon of water. And then we're gonna take another gallon of brine. If there's any crystals in the bottom of the pot, make sure you dissolve them. touch of water to finish that up. And that way we cool the brine down so that it can be used immediately. And we have a total of 2 gallons of liquid in there. And then salt, sugar, pickling spices, and curing salt, which is the TCM. Now we're ready to go ahead and start curing. Make sure, put your fingers in there and make sure it is less than body temperature. Okay, room temp's okay. We're gonna put in the Canadian bacon. We're gonna add pig's feet, 2 of them. We're gonna put in some ham hocks. We're gonna put in a pork shank. See how much meatier that shank is than the hocks. And then we have this one here. We're gonna do a special ham with this one. So we're gonna add a little bit more sugar to our liquid, and we'll make a special brine for this one. It'll just be sweet. I'll use the same brine that we have here. In fact, I'll just pull some out. We'll put it into a tall cylinder. This has been recently washed, so it's nice and clean. And we will add the ham there, and then we'll add enough liquid to cover. I'll need to measure this liquid because I'm going to be adding extra sugar. Right now I'm guessing at 1 quart. So 1 quart of liquid might be enough to cover this, and then we're going to add a little bit of sugar to it. So I'll get a ladle and we'll move this out. So I have plenty of liquid to cover the rest of my meats. In fact, we're going to have to put some of these meats into, or put a weight on top to push them underneath the liquid. We could also find a slightly smaller container. So not quite 1 quart yet. Okay, that looks good, and then I'm going to add 1 ounce, actually 2 ounces of sugar. That's brown sugar to this one. That'll be triple the amount of sugar in the recipe. 3 times. Make sure that sugar dissolves. If it doesn't dissolve all the way, you can heat it a little bit. This one here, what I would do if we have a little bit of headroom in there and we want to push that stuff underneath the liquid, we'll just put a plate on it and push it down. You can probably see here the liquid is a little bit down. Then we can get everything underneath the liquid. That'll be good. Keeps everything submerged. You must into the brine. Nothing can stick up. And pork wants to float a little bit, so you gotta be careful of that. Okay, this should be good. We dissolved out all of that. Make sure it's not hot. It's warm. Room temp. You can see it's much darker because of the brown sugar in there. And then we're gonna pour this over the top. Okay, I might need a little bit more brine. That means I have to add maybe a little bit more sugar. One more ladle. Yep, that'd do it. So I got 3 more ladles. I need another ounce of sugar. Okay, back to fun with brining. Here I've got everything in there. This one is floating, so if I push on it, you can see there's enough liquid to cover. So I'm gonna take a glass Pyrex cup and just fill it with brine right there and weigh it down. So now the pork's underneath, that pork's underneath, and then this stuff is good to go. This is gonna take me about 6 days worth of brining. Okay, so I'll see you in a week. All right, I'm back here again. Once again, we're gonna make some bacon. So we have a pork belly here. This one here still has the rind on it, and it's a nice thick piece of belly here. So I'm gonna cure this, since it's a little thick, for 6 days. At school I would normally go 5 days, but I can go into 6, not a big deal. Okay, I need to make a simple cure, dry cure, and that's gonna be 3 ingredients. Pink salt. I'm gonna use brown sugar for bacon, it's a little bit more flavorful, and then pure salt. That's it, 3 ingredients. So I'm gonna turn the scale on, I'm gonna weigh everything because it's more accurate. And I'll start off here with salt, and I'm gonna use a ½ pound, 8 ounces of salt. 6. Okay, 8 ounces of salt. We'll put that into a little mixing bowl where they're going to measure out sugar, 4 ounces of brown sugar. It's okay if you're a little over. We definitely want a good 4 ounces, but it doesn't have to be too heavy on the sugar. Okay? If you want to make a sweeter bacon, that is fine. You can use up to 8 ounces of sugar. But this one I'm going to go just a mellow. We don't want it to burn when we cook it. Okay, and then we need a couple teaspoons of some of the curing salt. Make sure you're doing teaspoons. And we need 4 teaspoons for this amount of cure. And measure them accurately, nice flat, even teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the cure. Now we just mix it together. Use a bigger bowl so it's faster. Break up any lumps that you have in there. Make sure the pink salt is well mixed into everything. You can use different kinds of sugars. Dextrose is one of the preferred sugars to use, which is like powdered corn sugar. To take corn syrup, dry it up, and use that, make dextrose. Dextrose is a little less sweet than regular sugar. Okay, we're gonna turn the scale back on. For 10 pounds of belly, we use about 6.5 or 6.6 ounces of this cure. So today we're only curing 6.9 or 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And with that, I do a little math, and we get 4.56 ounces of cure. So now I'm going to weigh out a little over 4.5 ounces. There's 4.5. There's 4.75. I'll just take a pinch out. Okay? 4.58, 4 5/8 ounces. So that's the cure. When we make bacon, we take a fresh belly, skin side down, put it into a container that fits nicely, and we dump the cure over the top. This is called a dry cure. This is often referred to as the salt box method. And I'm going to put the cure all the way to all edges of the bacon without trying to overrun the edge. Okay, then I'm going to use my fingers and just put some of this cure right down on the edges, the sides. So I'm kind of packing it in and then dabbing a little bit of sugar and salt here and then smearing it on the sides. I'm trying to keep all the cure on the belly. Try not to get a lot down in the pan. We want it on top. Okay, and that's the beginning of bacon. Now this cure is going to stay here for a matter of days. This is going to go 6 days. Every day I will go out and pull this out of the refrigerator, meaning out in the garage, because I have a second refrigerator there. And I will flip this over. So it is going to create a bit of moisture, or brine as we might call it. And that brine is going to be used to continue the curing process. So I'm going to put a piece of plastic wrap right down on top of the bacon, and then I'm going to get a pan that I can put inside and weigh the bacon down. I'll get a container with some heavy weight in it. Water is usually good enough, so I'll take about 6 pounds of water here, or 3/4 of a gallon, and then I will weigh this down. That's enough. And this is going to put some weight and flatten out this bacon, and also help accelerate the cure a little bit. And a couple steps after this. Every day I'm going to flip it, and then on the 6th day I will wash it with cold water. Wash it really well. I'm going to hang it and then let it dry overnight in the refrigerator. On the 7th day I will then smoke it, and I'll see you around there. Bacon. After 6 days, the hams are drained. Get rid of all the brine. The brine goes down the drain. Make sure you filter out all of your spices and whatnot so they don't clog your drains. And then we are going to rinse these hams with fresh water and then begin a soaking period of 1 hour. And we will soak the hams for an entire hour in order to start leaching some of the brine out of the edges of the hams. Once that is accomplished, we will then hang the hams in a refrigerator uncovered so that the hams may be allowed to air dry over a period of at least 12 hours or overnight. So rinse the hams well, soak them in water, air dry in the refrigerator. This is belly. A lot of liquid down in here. So we're gonna rinse this one down. Cold water. Rub it down. Both sides, the edges. Really rinse it. Get in the wrinkles everywhere you can. Okay. We're gonna make a hanger for these, and these guys here are just gonna soak 1 hour. And it'll be about 9:30 at night. See you then. So it's smoking day, and here's a fridge full of meats. You can see I've got stuff hanging in there. And just put a little hotel pan down on the bottom. Get your bacon. Get your hams. On top of that, we've got a bunch of ham hocks, pig's feet. So these are ready to go. We're gonna take them out this morning and put them into the smoker. This is our smoker, and inside you can see there's a belly. There's a smaller sweet ham. That one's gonna be the sugar cure. And then that one's gonna be Canadian bacon. And then we'll put some pig's feet in there. And some ham hocks. And a big shank. And this is turned on. Put some big hickory chunks down in here. I'll leave it a couple at a time, because we're going to be creating smoke all day long. We'll go a couple more. You can see starting to smoke already. So bye-bye. We'll put the lid on this one. And most likely this will stay around 225 right in there. We're gonna cook until the hams hit 150 and the bacon will take out a 145. And there's your smoke, just like that. Okay, see you in an hour or two. After about 4 hours, the bacon is finished, so I'm taking the bacon out, and then I'll allow the larger hams to go for a little bit longer with the ham hocks and the pig's feet. Here's the bacon. The bacon looks really good. May have overcooked a tiny bit on the bottom, but it is ready to go, and the finished hams here, as you can see.